Alice walked slowly down the street, casually glancing into bright shop windows advertising products she had never tried, outfits she would never wear. There was no money, and none in sight anytime soon, and there was almost none before. Now she had been laid off from work, and her mother was gone. Everything that had been saved for a rainy day, that very day, went to her mother's funeral. But her life had started off quite well. She was born and grew up in a poor, but intelligent and respectable family. Her father worked as an engineer at a factory. Her mother taught in elementary grades. Alice grew up a calm, trouble-free girl, a good student. In the winter, the family loved skiing. In the summer, the daughter went on various excursions with her parents, went hiking. For the rest of the summer, she was sent to the dacha with her grandmother, Vera Vasilyevna, her father's mother. A good life that promised a wonderful future. The question of what she would be, and she grew up, never occurred to Alisa. She wanted to be a doctor. Her mother, Lyudmila Ivanovna, smiled. Many girls want to become doctors or teachers when they are children, but their father just waved his hand. Not the best profession. Something more down-to-earth would be better, but one that brings in real income. No matter, Alisa will grow up and understand this. She will choose a more in-demand job, and a clean one. It is a great joy to mess around with the sick, or with other people's children, like you have been all your life. And so Alisa grew up and finished school. It was time to choose her future profession. What medical? Are you crazy, Alisa? Apply for a financial and economic degree. This profession is both safe and prestigious. And what about a doctor? Only complaints from sick old women, and someone will die before the Lord's sight. So it will be your fault. No. I don't want to hear about it anymore. It was not customary to argue with the head of the family. Alisa only tried to timidly object, but realized that it was completely useless, and her mother did not particularly support her. You know, Olechka, Dad is right. This work is hard, not the most pleasant. Besides, it is really thankless. Do as he says, and you will thank him later. Only Grandma Vera supported Alisa. Well, what's wrong? We have our own doctor at home. If we get sick, there will be someone to cure us. But the father was still on his own. Who did they cure? These doctors. You will come with a runny nose, leave with a bunch of certificates and prescriptions, and you will still be treated with milk and onions. Don't make things up, daughter. Alisa entered a financial college and began to study. Like everyone else, she got used to doing her job conscientiously, but she did not feel much interest in her future profession. Sometimes it was even scary that she would have to deal only with numbers all her life, and not with living people. She didn't even see the point in such work. Although some girls from her group liked their future profession, they even dreamed of working in serious companies, and all the companies' millions would be in their hands. Are you an accountant? That's the first person in any business, they said to Alice. But she didn't want to be the first person. She wanted to help all people, to treat them. And then her grandmother got sick. At first she simply didn't feel very well, but she held on and treated herself. Then she went to see doctors, even stayed in the hospital. And then she was discharged, already quite ill. Father brought Vera Vasilyevna home. He was upset, maybe scared, but more than that, angry. Here they are, your doctors. They treated and treated, but they cured her and discharged her. Far away and, they say, home. And now it's a great joy for us to fuss over her. And Grandma lay in the small room where Alisa also lived. They were happy together, and Alisa was also comfortable, because for the most part she looked after Grandma. Father only looked in sometimes and asked, "How are you, Mother?" "Nothing, still the same," answered Vera Vasilyevna. And Alisa saw how she, if not with her hands, then with her eyes, reached out to him, reached out to her beloved son. And he nodded and left. Alisa sometimes said to her father, "You should sit with Grandma and talk. She's your mother. After all, you teach me. You've become smart." "When should I sit? I'm working, and we don't really have anything to talk about." He really did start spending less and less time at home, justifying it by work. But Alisa believed that her father didn't want to be in the house where his mother was sick and maybe dying. Lyudmila Ivanovna apparently had other ideas about her husband's absences. She hid it, but it was obvious that she was suffering. Apparently, because of this, she also didn't pay enough attention to her mother-in-law. So all the worries about Grandma fell on Alisa's shoulders. She was even glad that her father was often absent from home. After all, He had to almost completely abandon his studies. She fed grandma, washed her, changed her linen, did the laundry, and made sure that she took her medications. And in her free time, she read books and news to her. They discussed all the events happening in the world and in their family. What kind of studies could there be? True. Sometimes Dad's sister, Aunt Tanya, came to visit Mommy, but her visits were short. She would leave a bag of some fruit in the kitchen, sit next to Vera Vasilyevna for about 5 minutes, languishing and not knowing what to talk about. And then she would quietly whisper something to Mom in the other room. Sometimes she would talk to Elisa. "Oh, I'm amazed, Alisaka. What a great girl you are. You look after grandma like that. Not every nurse can do that. I can't stand this smell. It's killing me. It's sapping all my strength." The girl didn't understand this. How could grandma smell bad? After all, she was her own granny, her kind hands that always smelled of freshly baked bread, cinnamon, vanilla, everything that was best in the world. The very word grandmother was warm and fragrant. How could one avoid her? One simply had to always be there, encourage her, give her a sense of need, necessity. And then, despite all the doctor's predictions, she would definitely get up. That's what Alice thought, although she herself did not really believe in the possibility of her grandmother's recovery. And it did not come. One night, Alice woke up not from groans, but from a ringing silence. Grandmother had quietly died in her sleep. In the morning, relatives gathered, everyone crying. Read. And only Alice thought of cleaning up her grandmother a little, kissing her forehead, to really say goodbye to her. "Oh, Aliska, you're a rock-hard girl." Aunt Tanya was amazed between fainting spells and lamentations for her mother. "I'm terribly afraid of the dead. I wish the hearse would come soon and take her away. You yourself should go home," thought Elisa. "What kind of dead person is this? This is grandma, and your own mother. What's the point of making faces if you're afraid?" Grandma was taken away. Then they buried her, and everything began to fall apart, as if she, Vera Vasilyevna, was the connecting link on which everything was held together. They had barely celebrated the 40th day, and Dad told Mom that he was leaving. "Where are you going?" "Why, Yeroshka." Mom was scared. "Don't pretend, Lyuda. You've long understood that our marriage has run its course. We have become strangers. I have long loved another woman. I waited a long time. I didn't want to upset my mother, and now nothing holds me back. Our daughter is already an adult. I have no property claims. I leave the apartment to you. And what about me? And what about you? You are a grown woman, not old yet. Maybe you will find your happiness, and I beg you, let's do without stupid scenes. We are not young lovers anymore." Yuri Alexeyevich began to collect his things. Lyudmila Mikhailovna could not survive this scene with dignity. She began to snatch something from her father's hands, scream, cry, beg, kneel down. Elisa, who witnessed what was happening, tried to stop and calm her mother, but nothing came of it. Yuri Alexeyevich did not finish packing. He left without warning that he would come tomorrow. Elisa began to calm her mother. "Mommy, is this really possible? It is clear that he was planning to leave a long time ago. So be it. The main thing is that you and I are together. Calm down. Drink these calming drops and get some sleep. What do you understand, Aliska? How could he leave us? For whom? After how long they nursed my mother, they looked after him like a little child. And now what? Are you no longer needed? And I'll be 50 soon. That's it. My life is over." Lyudmila Ivanovna was sobbing. Elisa calmed her mother as best she could, and began to pack her father's things herself. "What can you do now? Let him take them and leave. No one will keep him here by force." When Yuri Alexeyevich came the next day for his things, his mother no longer made a scene. She was lying in bed with a compress. "Oh well, at least it's quiet today. It's better for them to act like a dying swan than throw tantrums. Why are you doing this, Daddy? Mom loves you. You should have waited until she felt better. A few more years. No thanks. You only have one life, Alisaka, and wasting it on waiting is just stupid. Me and her. By the way, when you grow up, you'll understand. And don't be sad. Live and learn. Don't be weird. Call me if anything happens." And with that he left. Lyudmila Ivanovna was hopelessly crying in the room. Her daughter didn't know how to console her. She decided for herself that now there were no more reasons to go to the hated and unnecessary college. She wasn't going to be an accountant, and she was still old enough to go to college, if not to a university, then to a medical school and finally fulfill her dream. It turned out that everything was much more difficult than one might have thought. First of all, they needed money, and not just for studying, but for living in general. The family's main income was their father's salary, and he left. After that, my mother began to get sick often, so after finishing her class before the summer holidays, she quit. She developed hypertension and started having heart problems. They gave her a third-group disability, but the pension was a pittance, so Lisa had to work. She never graduated from college, and who would hire someone without an education? And my mother also needed money for medicine. Wait, daughter, when the school year starts, maybe I'll start tutoring or get a job somewhere, even as a cleaner. Stop it, Mom. What cleaner? You can't bend over or lift heavy things. I can easily get a job somewhere, even as a nurse in a hospital. What? It's convenient. 1 day on and 3 days off, and I can study. That's what she did. And it turned out that this wasn't the worst option at all. In addition, she was able to attend nursing courses, which did not provide a serious education, but still became good preparation for the college, which Elisa eventually entered. There was no longer any talk of going to college, but the girl believed that this was not necessary. People needed her in her place. The only thing that upset Elisa was her mother's condition. A considerable amount of time had passed since her father left, but she still could not recover. Elisa often found Lyudmila Ivanovna in tears. There were days when her mother did not even find the strength to get out of bed. The doctors threw up their hands, advised her to change the environment, find something interesting to do, or even a new love. What kind of love? The poor woman could not come to terms with the betrayal. She could not live without her Yeroshka. He alone was her love, and perhaps her life. Several times over the past years, Elise even decided to call her father. After all, only he could save her mother from the black depression into which she was plunging. But where was that? Yuri Alexeyevich didn't want to hear about his ex-wife. What are you talking about, Alisaka? I've had a different life for a long time, a new family. And what about Mom? She's an adult. Tell her not to act a fool and live a normal life. She's already so old. You shouldn't think about love, but about how to live out her old age with dignity. She's depressed. You need to do something, and then there won't be any depression. Such conversations only brought grief. Elise even stopped calling her father. How could this be? They loved each other, got married. They lived together for so many years, and now all the love seemed to have moved into Mom, devouring her from the inside. And her father was only indifferent to his ex-wife. Sometimes she couldn't contain her anger at her once-beloved dad. He was the one who managed to become the only one in her mother's life, and then abandoned her. And what did he do with his daughter? Because of her father, she studied at a hated college for several years, and she could have gotten a necessary and important profession, looked after her grandmother more professionally. Now all she could do was nurse her mother back to health and try to ease her condition. Alas, this was no longer possible. Her worn-out nervous system did not allow Lyudmila Ivanovna to live peacefully. Sometimes she even forgot the reason for her depressed state. Anything could make it worse. Bad weather, nose behind the wall, dogs barking outside. Anything could cause tears, pressure surges, loss of strength. No matter how hard the daughter tried to help her mother, everything was useless. A few years later, this led to Lyudmila Ivanovna falling ill. Is it worth mentioning how this complicated Elisa's life? And the girl just at that time found a good job. She got a job in a private clinic. Because of problems with her mother, she had to switch to part-time work, earning extra money wherever possible. She spent all her free time at home, trying to provide her mother with a comfortable life. The fact that Lyudmila Ivanovna became capricious, sometimes unfair to her daughter. Elisa explained it by her illness. She always tried to be even and calm. She did not count on the help of her few relatives. They could do little to help her. The same Aunt Tanya, who remained her mother's friend even after her parents' divorce, kept dropping in. But Elisa didn't like these visits. Firstly, she was afraid to hear about the bad smells again. Secondly, Tatiana was smart enough to talk about her brother and his current affairs. I told Yurka a long time ago that he was a scoundrel for leaving you. And who did he trade you for? If only she were a normal woman, but she's a real mop. It's disgusting to look at. In vain. Lyudishka, you were grieving so much over him, such a goat, as if she didn't notice how such conversations upset Lyudmila Ivanovna. And then, Already in the kitchen, she would begin to teach her niece a lesson in life. Oh, your mother has completely given up, and you're ruining your life with her. How old are you? 30 already? And you voluntarily appointed yourself a nurse. It would have been better to arrange for her to be placed in a special institution. Do you want me to find out where and on what terms? She would have lived peacefully, found a man, got married, had children. Alice couldn't stand such conversations. She understood that time was running out, but what could she do? How? Why would I give up my own mother? What are you talking about, Aunt Tanya? Where can I put my mother? How will I live after this? Who will replace her for me? Well, Mom, she will still be your mother there, in the nursing home. Will you visit her? No. I can't do that. Don't tell me about that. And don't talk about Dad in front of her. Don't scold him. He's your brother. And Mom still loves him. Why do you upset her unnecessarily? Oh, you and your mother are both stupid. She ruined her life with her love. And now you're doing the same. You need to love life, not your dying. Alice didn't understand her aunt, so she tried to cut her visits to a minimum. She and Mom were fine together, as good as possible, of course, because what good can there be if the mother lies there, melting away before our eyes, despite all the efforts of her daughter? And Alice herself really did forget about herself, about her concerns about her mother and the patients of the clinic. Yes, she was a very good nurse. The patients were happy when it was her shift. But things were not so good in this medical institution. Every now and then they announced layoffs. Alice did not think about it and was almost not afraid. She was tormented by other fears. Mommy was getting worse. And then came the black day. Mother quietly faded away in her daughter's arms. Father was informed. He came to the funeral, but was insultingly indifferent. He did not even approach the deceased. He patted his daughter on. Whatever you said. Money is not a problem, and you live nearby. You are a doctor. You can look after him, help him, talk to the doctor, give him injections, medicine, maybe feed him. Well, that is, be a kind of nurse. Actually, I won't refuse, but you say that he refuses nurses, and to do something against his will. But he understands that he simply can't cope on his own. He has always been strong, independent, and it is difficult for him to accept someone's help. But you have kind eyes. He may remember you. That is, you are not a stranger to him. Let's go. Talk to him, please, because if he doesn't agree, then I don't know what to do. Okay. Let's go now, Alice decided. Wait a minute, I'll wash up and change my clothes. She hurriedly went to the bathroom, looked discontentedly at her pale, withered face, rinsed it with cold water, dried herself with a towel, put on a fresh blouse. Someone needs her help. She's a nurse, a doctor. You need to get yourself and your life in order. Start moving somehow, or something. You can't sink like this while you're still needed by someone. They got out and went up 2 floors. The girl opened a beautiful door, let Alice into the apartment. Yes, it seemed that money was not a problem for the owners. It was even strange how they could transform a standard 3-room apartment like that. Expensive repairs, done professionally and tastefully. Stylish furnishings. On the floor in the hallway was not some banal palace, but a chic, light-colored carpet with a lush pile. And it's scary to step on that, thought Alice. Lilya led her to the patient's room. A man of about 55 was lying on the bed, and it was clear that nothing interested him. The TV was on without sound. A book had fallen onto the carpet. A strong male hand was clutching the edge of the blanket. Daddy? Look here, Lilya said. This is Elisa Yurievna, our neighbor. A nurse. She can help you if anything happens, give you injections, make sure you take your pills, and so on. She cook you food. And you won't be alone. That's worth something, right? Is it really that hard to leave me alone? The man waved his hand. Then Elisa took a step toward the bed and spoke. Of course, you need rest, Leonid Mikhailovich, in order to get well soon, to come to your senses. And I am here precisely to help you with this. You will be able to recover completely calmly, without worrying about anything. And I will be able to help. I am a professional nurse, not just a caregiver. I will familiarize myself with the doctor's instructions and help you fulfill them. But there is no need to be sad at all. You have someone to live for. Look how worried your daughter is about you. And what about your little granddaughter? Do you think she doesn't need a grandfather? The man tore his gaze away from the wall and turned it to Elisa. There was no longer such hopeless melancholy in his eyes. So Elisa became a caregiver. Leonid Petrovich did not accept her right away, although Elisa's words, apparently, made an impression on him. But on the very first day he said, "I am not a bedridden patient. I don't need potties. And you don't have to feed me with a spoon. Injections, whatever else the doctor prescribed, that's okay, but nothing more. So you won't have to sit with me all day. Do what needs to be done, and you're free to go." "Okay. I'm not going to bother you." Alice tried to speak cheerfully, if not cheerfully, "but I'll still cook for you, and I'll also make sure you eat. Proper nutrition in your case is a direct path to recovery, no less important than pills and injections." The man thought for a moment, nodded silently, but did not enter into any more conversations. Apparently, it was still uncomfortable and unusual for him to be sick. To appear before a woman in such a state, in pajamas, lying in bed, poorly shaved. Alice, too, for the first time in a long time, looked closely at herself in the mirror and was horrified. How could she have stooped so low? That they had been told more than once both in courses and at school that a nurse should always look impeccable, instilling confidence in her patients with her appearance. She had never been a written beauty, but now she did not look like an ugly one either. A gray face, black shadows under her eyes, and long, light-colored hair that looked matted and dirty. Yes, just the sight of such a nurse makes you not want to live, she thought discontentedly, and in her free time she visited a hairdresser. She got a light haircut, bought a good shampoo and conditioner. She did not dare to put on makeup or curl her hair. He would think that I was flirting, but the man in her care, oddly enough, noticed the changes. "And you, I see, have changed a little for the better. The first time I saw you, I thought that you yourself needed a nurse. You looked so pale and exhausted." "Yes, I was like that. I looked after my mother for several years. She was seriously ill, and 4 months ago she died. And soon she was fired from work. Well, she sat at home, completely neglected herself. She decided that there was no one to live for and no point in living, and even more so to look decent. And then your Lilya came. Well, now I have a job and an understanding that someone needs me, and that means I should look like a nurse, not a hobo. So I got sick and became a little sad. Something similar happened to me when my wife died. Lilya was very little then. My wife was a young, beautiful, strong woman, but there was a car accident. I never married again. I was afraid that things would only get worse for Lilya with her stepmother. So I lived for my daughter and my work. I started my own business. But now you have someone to live for. A wonderful daughter, a granddaughter. I have no one. That's just how it turned out. Well, and now thanks to you I have come to life a little. When you get better, I'll get a job again. Nurses, caregivers, they are always needed. Do you think I'll get better? Do you doubt it? I looked at the latest tests. They are already much better. And your condition itself, too. Only you eat poorly, and you really need your strength. And my soul does not accept it. I don't even know what I would eat with pleasure now. And you think about it, dream about it, and then tell me. I'll try to cook it." But Leonid Petrovich only waved off all the offers. He ate little and without much desire. Elisa sometimes racked her brains to cook something for him that he would eat with pleasure, but all in vain. One day, entering her entrance, she looked into the mailbox. More out of habit, the time of letters and postcards had long passed, and there was no one to write to her. She simply cleared the mailbox of advertisements, took receipts for rent, and almost overlooked the notice about the parcel waiting for her at the post office. Who could have sent her something? At first, Alice decided that it was a mistake, but no. The address, the last name, the parcel came to her. It was strange, unusual, even frightening. At the post office, standing in a small line, Alice received a rather large, but not very heavy box. She checked the address, the last name. Everything is correct. Sender. The parcel was sent to some Nikoleva Maria Petrovna from the village where her grandmother, Vera Vasilyevna, was born and raised. Alice had only been to that village once with her grandmother, but in such a distant childhood that she did not remember anything at all. Who sent her something and why? I came home in a hurry, opened the parcel, and immediately the aroma of summer, happiness, and grandma spread from the box throughout the room. The contents were covered with an embroidered towel, under which were clean linen bags with dried mushrooms, raspberries, a pack of tea, candies, and a letter written in a trembling old man's handwriting. Hello, dear Alisaka. This is Maria Petrovna, an old friend of your grandmother, Vera Vasilyevna. I haven't heard from her for many years. Since she wrote that she was sick, she hasn't written anymore. I myself have become old. I myself am sick. I sit at home all the time, and I keep remembering how young we were. And so I decided to send Verushka some mushrooms and berries from our forest. My grandchildren picked them in the summer in the same places where Verushka and I used to pick them as girls. These mushrooms and raspberries are the only things I save myself with. As soon as I eat and drink some tea, I come to life. Here you are, Alisaka. Cook for Granny, if she is alive. If not, then eat it yourself or treat someone to your health. And drink some tea. This Aliska raspberry will heal the soul, not only all illnesses. Elisa finished reading the letter through the tears that were pouring from her eyes in streams. Here it is. Greetings from Granny so many years after her death. The parcel did not have time to arrive. It did not say Granny, Mom. But how it warmed the lonely soul. Elisa took the mushrooms, berries and went to her ward to carry out her daily duties. Well, if he doesn't even need mushroom soup, I don't know what to feed such a picky bull. I'll refuse to look after him at all. He'll starve to death any minute, and it will be my fault, she thought angrily. As soon as she arrived, she immediately started cooking. She still remembered her grandmother's lessons and knew how to make the most delicious mushroom soup. Soon a delightful aroma began to float throughout the apartment. What is this extraordinary thing you're making? Alice heard. Leonid Mikhailovich stood up and went into the kitchen. This is a wonderful soup. Whoever eats it will immediately become young and healthy, Alice answered cheerfully. Sit down. It will be ready soon. And if you don't eat the whole plate this time, I'll wash my hands of it. It looks like this time I won't be able to resist having more. The aroma alone has not only made me look younger, it's made me feel like a child again. My mother often made mushroom soup. Did you buy the mushrooms at the market? No. I'd be afraid to buy them at the market, to be honest. These mushrooms have a different story. A much more interesting one, about old friendship and youth. Alice told Leonid Mikhailovich about the parcel, about the letter, about her grandmother. Both could not hold back their tears, and then they ate the mushroom soup with pleasure. And tea with raspberries, of course. Maria Petrovna's main recipe. You are simply a sorceress, Alice. Hereditary, apparently. I haven't felt this good for a long time. Perhaps I'm already completely healthy, so you won't need a nurse anymore. Alice smiled deliberately sadly. Oh no. You won't get it. To maintain this condition, I must eat such soups every day, throughout my life. So, jokingly, they drank tea. Then Alice helped Leonid Mikhailovich to the bed. He was still very weak. But, not wanting to show weakness, he tried hard to pretend that he was faking it, so that his nurse would not leave. Health or not, but a good mood. They gave you back your soup and tea. I am very glad about that. At first you were so gloomy, stern, I was even afraid of you. Well, that was in vain. I just felt uncomfortable that a young, beautiful woman was looking after me like an old man. I still feel uncomfortable, but it gives me an incentive to get well soon. And also, don't be surprised, Alice, that you become not a nurse or a nurse from me, but that you stay with me forever. Marry me, I beg you. The doctors say that I will soon recover completely and be a normal person. I know that without the doctors, you are normal now. That is, they were, until they suddenly wanted to get married. Alice could not leave the joking tone, although she was somewhat discouraged by the unexpected proposal. No. I'm serious. No matter how much I recover, I can't imagine living without you. Don't go. Elisa, Leonid Mikhailovich said pleadingly. I can't say it happened quickly, but within a year they really did become husband and wife. By this time, Leonid had fully recovered. Elisa realized that he had long since ceased to be just her ward. In fact, Leonid had long since ceased to need her care, that they had truly become necessary to each other. But Elisa already knew how destructive the lack of a real job could be for her. She got a job as a nurse in a hospital. After becoming a husband, Leonid Mikhailovich tried to dissuade her. Why do you need this, Alisaka? We have enough money for 3 lifetimes. If you want to have your own income, then rent out your apartment. Lenica, is it really about money? I need to help people. I was once left without it, and if Lilya hadn't turned to me, I would have died in my dead long ago. This is my calling. I can't give it up.